This video is brought to you by the FarmerKlein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to our Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Ellerbach. But before that, this video is brought to you by Jimmy Anderson and Scooter's Workbench. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Ellerbach map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for PC players only. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Ellerbach in beautiful Germany. This map has 179 fields and meadows, 4 farms, a BGA, many forest areas, custom new buildings, and new ground textures, multi-terrain angle, and the map has been prepared with precision farming with a custom soil map. There are also many seasonal map objects that will pop up during the seasons, multiple selling stations, Animaldealer, Collectibles, productions, and a new cash crop. Now this map does have 8 required mods. So in addition to the mods we typically use when we look at maps, which is additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, precision farming, and straw harvest. We're also going to be making use of Bavarian barns, bunker silo with roof, deco chapel, the European decorative buildings pack, as well as the machine hall with workshop, meadow fence pack, small composite hall, and storage hall. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find the main farm is built out exactly how you see it here in new farmer mode. In addition, you do start out with starting machinery in all game modes. The only difference is in those alternate game modes is that you do not own any land. I also loaded this map up with a low-end system, and I found the frame rates to be reasonable, respectable, with lows sometimes in the 50s, but basically once the shader cache was built out, everything was fairly stable, 60 frames per second or higher. Didn't mean to do that, but when you load into the map for the very first time, you start at a chapel kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Now I have to say, this is my kind of map. This is a smaller map than standard size, and the fields are smaller and there are very numerous. This map has multiple farms, and with respect to the crops, we are missing a few. Cotton, sugarcane, grapes, and olives have been removed from the map. All the other crops are available to us, in addition to red beets, carrots, and parsnips, if we do have the premium expansion enabled. We take a look at our farmland screen. We start out with farmland ID 149, which is our main starting farm. That can be bought for $176,000 in any alternate game mode. In addition, we start out by owning farmland 138 and 105. In addition to the main starting farm, there's also a cow farm at 150, which can be bought for $140,000. It is right across the street. We have a sheep pasture at farmland ID 186, which can be bought for $65,000. There is also a cow farm at farmland ID 151 that can be bought for $136,000. And then we have a pig farm at farmland ID 195 that can be bought for $64,000, and a biogas plant at farmland ID 155 for $727,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. Farmland lease screen shows all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. As you can see, these farmlands are ranging anywhere from less than 1 hectare. I did see one just a little bit more than 2 hectares in size. So this map is going to be ideal for small machinery. I think this would be a really interesting multiplayer map as well. Those that are willing to play with small machinery, because there are multiple farms and you can do a bit of a cooperative farming effort. We take a look at our field calculator screen. This is going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. Again, the vast majority of these fields are less than 1 hectare in size, with a few between 1 and 2, and then a few are going to be over 2 hectares. This map is making use of a custom crop counter. We can see that listed here. And if we take a look at our prices screen, you will see that we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the crops that are included on the map. In addition, we have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we continue down through all the base game production items, we once again do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game production items. In addition, we do have the ability to buy bulk lime, and we also have the ability of selling our stones at the selling point for stones. Now, with respect to the premium expansion, I'm going to say platinum expansion, we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items. We do have the ability to sell our premium expansion productions and crops. Those playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability of getting rid of our separated manure, and we also have the ability of getting rid of our hay and straw pellets for those playing with straw harvest. You start out with a decent list of starting machinery. It is all owned. None of it is leased. We have 3 animal areas that we own at the start: pigsty, cow barn, and sheep pasture. We have 2 contracts for fertilizing here, but we do have contracts on the map in general. We do not own any other production chains that are built into the map at the start, and we do have the 100 Elm Creek collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Valtra N155 E-Direct and G105 small tractors. We have the Deucefar Topliner 4090H harvester that is paired up with the 4090H header and header trailer. We do have the Mahindra Retriever as a side-by-side to get around. We have the Klaas Karat 140 PD trailer, as well as the Walger DK 115 trailer. The Agrimaz POV 5XL plow, as well as the Horsch Terraino, oh my gosh, 3FX cultivator. For the Nordstein HK 25 NS 3030 seeder and power harrow combination. Hardy Mega 1200L herbicide and fertilized sprayer. We have the ZATS 3200 Amazon fertilized spreader. We have the GMD 4411 side mower and GMD 3123F front mower. We have the GF 8712 tedder, as well as the GA 4731 windrower. The Zelon CFS 2501 DO forage wagon. We have the Anderson M160 forestry logging trailer. The Q4M front loader arms. And for the front loader, we have pallet fork, universal bucket, and bell spike. Then we wrap it all up with a 1,100 kilogram front weight. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, this map does not have any custom vehicles or implements. And while we're here at the main farm, we do have a sleep trigger at our farmhouse. We have a small storage shed for our vehicles and some of our implements. We have a fuel tank here. This is going to be our cow building. We have our dairy bell point. We have our slurry pit. We have our food trough and straw trigger inside. And then we have our animal drop-off point. We have 120 cows in total in this building. We have our manure heap. Then a little storage alcove attached to the manure heap. And on the other side of our cow building, we have 3 small 3-sided silage bunkers. We have another covered silage bunker. With some more of our starting machinery, and that is pretty much it. Now, with respect to the starting farm and the other farms in general being customizable, we can sell all of the buildings on pretty much all of the farms with a few caveats. At this farm, we cannot sell these 3 silage bunkers or this concrete area attached to it, nor can we sell our farmhouse. It is permanently affixed in the map. This trend tends to continue across the other farms as well. Right across the street from our starting farm, we have another dairy farm operation. Let me go ahead and buy this as well as the other farms on the map. And now that we own this farm, we have our sleep trigger here at the farmhouse. I was thinking that was a usable building, but no, it is not. We have our manure heap here. We have our diesel point. Little workshop trigger here at this building. So I'm not seeing a workshop marker. Looks like that workshop is going to be within this area. It's a little hard to tell. There's so many triggers going on right there. We have our slurry point. We have our manure heap inside the shed. We do have our silage and... not our silage, our food and straw trigger. We have two 3-sided bunkers at this farm. And then we have our cow drop-off for 120 cows in here. Just like the first farm, the trend continues. The concrete aspects of the farm are permanently embedded, which include these two silage bunkers and the farmhouse. Now, before we move on too far with the map video, let's go ahead and take a look at this custom soil map. Quite an interesting soil map we have here, where our starting fields are a mix of sandy loam, loamy sand, and silty clay. Those will be the fields located right here. Let's get a little bit of altitude and take a look around. Fields have a nice rolling nature to them, and like I said earlier, I really do like this map, and I tell you, if I was looking for a map to play on, this probably would be my next play. But sadly, at this point, we are not looking for a map, but this will be going in the list of maps I wish I had more time to play. Got a really nice pond over here by these fields to the west. We'll go ahead and do kind of a clockwise rotation around the map. Got a bit of a solar field down here. Now, this land is not purchasable, so I do not feel that we're going to be getting any benefit from those solar cells. That is merely a decorative aspect. There's a couple points on the map where we do have just random wild animals. Here we have a hillside of sheep that just roam around, and these are animated sheep. Then right next to that, we have our sell point for our stones. We've got our main starting farm directly ahead, and then the farm that is right across the street from that. We have a restaurant sell point below. Our animal dealer is located right here. Then we have a little bit of a building zone in behind that. There are a pair of beehives located over here. Here's one of our collectibles. Our vehicle dealer is located here in town, as is a biomass heating plant. We have our carpentry over here. We also have a bakery that is built in that is just north of our starting farm location. In fact, with respect to production, this map has 9 productions built in, 2 barns with wood chippers, a carpentry shop, We have a bakery, 2 dairies, spinnery, a sawmill, and a biogas plant. So we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. Right here we have a couple production items below. We have our BGA. I did try to sell everything at the biogas plant, and I was somewhat successful. I was able to sell the large shed here. I was able to sell the weighing station, and I was able to sell the BGA itself. What I could not sell were the 3 silage bunkers, 1 3-sided, 2 pull-through, and I was also able to sell the fence around the BGA. So you would have a pretty decent sized area here to build out your own biogas plant if you wanted to, even though we do have those permanent silage bunkers located here. Here we have the pig farm, as well as our dairy production point. So the pig farm is directly below here. And we'll take a closer look at that when we get around to our drive around. Here we have a second kind of area that just has some wild horses. I say they're wild horses because even if you buy this land, you do not get control of this. This is not a horse pasture that is simply waiting for you to purchase it. This is on buyable land, but these are just animated horses here to give you a little bit of life in the area. The third cow farm is located directly in front of us. And then the second dairy is going to be located right here. This is going to be the cheese factory from the Erlengrot map. And with that, we're going to make our way back over to the vehicle shop, get in our Mahindra, and do our drive around. I did want to show that we do have the ability of making use of this forklift, which is stationed at the shop. In addition, our dealer trigger is inside the building. And then our workshop dealer trigger is around the back. We do have that area marked off here. And we have a fairly okay sized area. I mean, it's not huge. I'd say it's modest with respect to the size of the map and everything for our vehicles to spawn in at. As far as getting out of here again, I think it's pretty good for the fact that I think you're best going to be served with smaller machinery here on this map. We've got our sawmill, interactive icon. We have our pallet spawn point right here where we do have our van. So hopefully the parked van is not going to impede on the ability to have our products spawn in at here. And then we have our wood cell trigger located right there. Well, now we have 2 hash marks. I believe that the one over there is supposed to be the wood cell trigger, and this one's going to be our pallet spawn point. So I think that the map author put the wood cell trigger over here, but maybe left those corner markers on the other side. A little bit of confusion there. Here we have our biomass heating plant for our wood and wood chips. Then we have a sell point here as well, right across the street from our carpeting shop, which is going to be the supermarket. Let's see if we can't wind our way here to the south. That's where we're going to find those beehives. Then with respect to our scoring, we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. What is this? What is that? Who knows what that little shed's for? I'd love to know. Down here by the water's edge. Some sort of water bird? Birdhouse? With respect to the ability to sell all of our crops, animal outputs, and production points, we are once again going to be giving the map a full point there as well. Alright, we just doubled back. We need to go a little bit further. And with respect to the farms to be customizable, because we do have so much of each farm that we cannot sell. Pretty much every farm has got concrete components and deco components that will not sell. We are going to be giving the map just a half a point with respect to the farms being customizable. So we have a consumables sell point. Or the consumables is a buy point. We have our gas station over here. What can we buy here? Seed, fertilizer can be bought there. We have then the sell point on the other side of the building. And then a lime station also on the other side of the building over here. Yep, right there. Let me just check something. Oh, wow. This is usable. I was curious if this was usable. And it does appear that we can make use of that. Makes me wonder if we can make use of this roller too. How much other machinery is scattered around that we can use? Yep, we can use this too. It's a little bit of an Easter egg hunt, I guess. See what other vehicles and implements that you can make use of here on the map. Alright, I don't think we need to go down and check out the beehives. We've already seen those. They're down by field 37 and 38. We do get a good sense of the rolling hills and the rolling nature of the map with our drive around here and looking around at these various fields. We have another grain sell point here, another consumables purchase point for seed fertilizer. Here we have a bale sell point. And then again, we have our VGA kind of up here on the hill in the extreme northwest corner of the map. Again, we can sell the biogas plant. We cannot sell the silage bunkers. And we can sell the large shed there. We have a workshop trigger and fuel point inside that shed. I was just looking to see because we do have a fair number of buildings a little bit to the north of the BGA. They appear to be off the map boundary. We have our dairy. And then right across the street from the dairy, we do have our pig farm. So we have our sleep trigger at the house. Here we have a fuel point inside the shed. And then this is a production point. Barn with wood chipper. So wood chips produce energy. We have our maintenance trigger here. There we have our dump point for our wood chips. And then we activate that and we're producing energy. 108 sheep. Sorry, 108 pigs. We have our food for those, and then we're going to have our slurry on the other side. And then we have a little bit of a shed here for our machinery. Fairly small, modest farms. And now as we make our way across, here we have the kind of the Deco horse pasture. Again, that is on viable land, but even if we own the land, we cannot make use of those horses. It's all just decorative. Similar to the sheep that we saw over at the stone sell point. With respect to buildings where appropriately are using the new texturing technique, we are going to be giving the map a full point there as well. Even the custom buildings are either making use of the new texturing windows that we saw with Erlengrot, or they are using the new wall textures that do give the map or the building a little bit of a sense of depth. We have the third cow farm. So we have our slurry point. We do have a fuel point inside of there. We have our sleep trigger for our house. We have our manure heap right next to our cow buy point. 120 cows total in here. Food and straw. Then we have our milk trigger around the back. And a pretty nice sized area here for our vehicle to implement storage. Three-sided silage bunkers with the ability to come around the back and unload. Always a nice convenient feature to have. It's going to take us over here to our cheese factory. This is our second dairy. So we have our dump point, our interactive point, and our out spawn point. This is going to produce chocolate and cheese alone. No milk here. Now, what is to the north of that? So we have our spinnery to the extreme northeast. We take this road around and go up to that. I think we're going to make our way down to the sheep area and then wrap it all up. This way. So the last scoring metric is going to be player and interactive areas being clearly marked. I think we're going to give the map a full point there as well. So that's going to give the score a 4.5 out of 5, where the only thing that we really took off for was the fact that we did have deco elements at all of the player farms that we could not sell. In addition, there were concrete elements at those player farms that we could not sell, like the concrete silage bunkers. Now, the silage bunkers you can work around. It's a little less of a big deal if those can't be sold, but there was a fair bit, like I said, of deco elements at all the farms that stayed around, and as such, it would have made it a little bit difficult in customizing the farm areas too much. So here are 40 sheep. In here we have our wool point, water, and food. Before we really close out, I just want to take a look at our animal food requirements. They all look to be extremely standard. Nothing custom there. Now, I would love to know what you all think down in the comments below with respect to Ellerbach. Like I said at the start, if I was looking for a map to play on and I didn't already have kind of a commitment, if you will, play on a map already, then I would be really gunning to move to this map. This map really rings to me in so many ways as the type of map that I really enjoy to play on, simply because it's smaller, and as someone with limited time, smaller fields means I get the sense of gratification in getting more things done over a shorter period of time. Let me know what your all's thoughts down in the comments below with respect to this map. And is it going to go on your soon-to-be played list, or the man if I only had all the time in the world playlist? Until next time, happy farming.